Did you know more and more people are raising goats to supplement their income?
That's right. We don't get to talk about it often on the Monitor, but recently we took a ride to West Georgia, talked to a couple of guys familiar with successful grazing management. Not too far from the crossroads of Harris and Troup counties is where you'll find UGA County Extension Coordinator Steve Morgan. Morgan told me he does a lot of work with small animals like sheep and goats.
It's a great supplemental income. If you've got cattle, if you've got some land, it doesn't take a whole lot of space to raise goats. They're great companion grazing animals.
The Harris County Extension Coordinator said there are some essentials you need to know about producing a profitable goat herd.
Most profitable goat herds are pasture forage based. Like to have those forages available for them about 8 to 10 months out of the year. Protein and energy that come from forages, pastures are the cheapest, and feed costs are your most expensive cost for the year in a goat operation.
Morgan introduced us to retired West Point farmer David England. You can't tell he's slowed down any. He's been raising goats for the last 10 years in 5 different pastures, and it's easy to tell he has a passion for what he does.
To begin with, when we got this acre, we got about 60 acres, and we had cows, and I got up to 13 cows. And then I retired, and cows, you know, 1,200, 1,500 pounds, they're hard to work with by yourself. So I got to thinking, I got a couple of goats, and I just enjoyed fooling with them. In other words, I could take care of them. I got a corral over there. I can do it all by myself. I can put every goat in there. I can cut the feed. I can worm it. Don't have to have any help. My son's got a business, and he's gone a lot, so he can't help me.
Both men agree that good goat producers are also good forage producers who utilize the animals as a means to harvest their crops.
The grazing height needs to be about 5 inches or more. Controlled grazing is better than continuous grazing because in continuous grazing the goats are allowed free range access over the pasture. Plant selectivity is very high in continuous grazing, whereas controlled grazing you limit the goats to a specific paddock for a period of time. You make them graze the entire forages that are available in that pasture, then you move them to the next paddock.
If you got goats, a lot of people make the mistake of wanting to feed them every day, just over and over and over, and that's cost a lot of money. I have people come here and they say, well, why is your goat so fat? And I say, well, because they eat all this grass, and I watch them, I give them the right minerals. But they get these goats are what I call like show goats, are real big, fat. Those are not, all mine are pasture goats. They have their babies in this pasture. They don't get put up in a little pen. That's why they're healthy, you know. They live outside. You know, they got shelter when it rains.
Well, after watching this, if you've had an itch to start raising goats, England has some advice for you.
Just get a few. Don't get a lot. I wouldn't get over 3 or 4. If you can, try to borrow your buck, because don't buy a buck. If you know, to me, the best thing is buying a good quality buck. You know, it's just like a bull. You know, you can buy a bull and put him over these grade cows, and they throw pretty calves. And so you know, I wouldn't go out and buy a buck to begin with. I'd start off with 2 or 3 or 4 females, young ones, but go to somebody that's reputable, that has a good name, and buy your goats.